Hi, my name is Adnan Hasbi and welcome to another episode of Funny Finance Guy. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about AirAsia's first quarter 20 results. And eventually on the 9th of July, the management of AirAsia said that they are looking towards raising some funds from the outside market as much as 1 billion ringgit. So let's dive into it. As I mentioned to you, the AirAsia Group released its first quarter 20 results, and we could see that there was a dip in its stock price. Aside from that, the auditors for AirAsia gave an unqualified audit opinion stating that there is an uncertainty towards going concern, meaning to say the auditors are not too positive on AirAsia's ability towards meeting its financial obligation in the coming months ahead. So needless to say that the stock took a little bit of a beating from 90 cents to 69 cents. And as at the 9th of July, AirAsia says that they are looking to ways to bring in funds into the company. And the total amount is approximately $230 million or 1 billion ringgit. To recap my last video, I did mention that airlines tend to have a relatively high fixed cost, whereby if you want to buy an airplane, you would either lease it or you would buy it via borrowing. And the price for an airplane is relatively expensive. Aside from that, airlines also have staff costs, have fuel costs, and they will also have to pay the airports for using its facilities. Having said that, being a budget airline, their revenues would come from the ticket prices times volume. And budget airlines tend to run more on the volume game. So over here in the green bar, that represents revenue. And if the volumes are high enough, that will bring them to the profitable region. And in my last video, I mentioned that AirAsia has been increasing its fleet. So with the increase in fleet, that will also mean that there will be an increase in its cost. Over here, I'd like to point out that I am a retired analyst, so this slide may be a bit outdated. With the pandemic, I'm sure the management are relooking the way they are expanding their fleet. The first quarter 20 results may look a little bit like this in a pictorial representation, whereby right now there is a drop in volume, while at the same time cost remains relatively unchanged. This would translate to the company not making any profits. So let's dive into its P&L. Okay, so for the quarterly results, we can see that there's a dip in revenue compared to the previous quarter of last year. Aside from that, moving down, when we look at the costs, it seems to be relatively fixed, or it seems to be relatively unchanged despite the drop in revenues. We can see that the staff costs hovered around the 400 million region, so on and so forth. And we can see that the airline EBITDA is in the negative region, while there was a drop in the non-airline EBITDA. And what this is AirAsia is looking towards diversifying its earnings. So despite their multiple streams of income, the results for AirAsia dropped in the negative region. We can see that they had an operating loss and net loss for the year of 953 million, going down. And we can see that total comprehensive loss is about 1.6 billion. And as forecasted in the previous few videos, AirAsia would go through some bumpy times with the drop in the people traveling. So right now, the management of AirAsia is looking towards raising funds, as we can see. And the second thing is they are looking towards their non-airline businesses to help prop up the AirAsia group. So if you ask me what may happen, it is very difficult to say. Right now, we can see that there is a relaxation in terms of the lockdown, but would people travel like before? And since it's Visit Malaysia year, would people come into Malaysia? And is this uncertainty, we will see that the stock price continue to fluctuate. So should you want to invest or should you stay to be invested, know that the stock price would continue to see movements going up and down. So I just wanted to update you guys with regards to the results and what the management is doing. And I hope this small little episode helped you guys. With that, I thank you so very much.